Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day. Don't forget, grab your smartphone and download the Lava Matra app and stay in touch. Guru Maharaj's message is your advantage. The following is a Sri Krishna Chaitanya book compilation given by His Holiness Jaya Pataka Swami Maharaj on February 11th, 2021 in Sri Mayapur, India.
Mangalang Hayatagam Yatipatavan Vande Sri Gauri Pavananda Madhava Sri Chaitanya Ishram Hari Om Tat Sat. Compilation of the Sri Krishna Chaitanya book.
Compilation of Sri Krishna Chaitanya book. Conversation entitled Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Conversations with Venkat Bhatta.
বেঙ্কট ভট্ট গৃহে প্রভু গৌরচন্দ্র। এই মতো ভট্ট গৃহে রহে গৌরচন্দ্র, নিরন্তর ভট্ট সঙ্গে কৃষ্ণ কথানন্দ।
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at the house of Venkat Bhatta and constantly talked with him about Lord Krishna. In this way, he was very happy.
লক্ষ্মীনারায়ণ সেবক শ্রী সম্প্রদায়ী ভট্ট, শ্রী বৈষ্ণব ভট্ট সেবে লক্ষ্মীনারায়ণ, তার ভক্তি দেখি প্রভুর তুষ্ট হইল মন।
Being a Vaishnava in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, Venkat Bhatta worshipped the deities of Lakshmi and Narayana. Seeing his pure devotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied.
প্রভু সহ তাহার সখ্য ভাব, নিরন্তর তার সঙ্গে হইল সখ্য ভাব, হাস্য পরিহাস দুয়ে সখ্যের স্বভাব।
Constantly associating with each other, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkat Bhatta gradually developed a friendly relationship. Indeed, sometimes they laughed and joked together.
প্রভুর তাহাকে কৃষ্ণ সেবা দানের ইচ্ছা, প্রভু ভট্ট সংবাদ, প্রভুর কৌতুক প্রশ্ন, লক্ষ্মী ও গোপীর কৃষ্ণ সেবা বৈশিষ্ট্য। প্রভু কয়ে ভট্ট তোমার লক্ষ্মী ঠাকুরানী, কান্ত বক্ষ স্থিতা পতিব্রতা শিরোমণি।
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the Bhattacharya, "Your worshipable goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, always remains on the chest of Narayana, and she is certainly the most chaste woman in the creation."
নারায়ণা শ্রিতা হইয়াও লক্ষ্মী, কৃষ্ণ মাধুর্য কৃষ্টা হইয়া কৃষ্ণ সঙ্গ প্রার্থিনী। আমার ঠাকুর কৃষ্ণ গোপ গোচারণ, সাধ্বী হইয়া কেন চাহে তাহার সঙ্গম।
However, my Lord is Lord Sri Krishna, a cowherd boy who is engaged in tending cows. Why is it that Lakshmi, being such a chaste wife, wants to associate with my Lord?
তদুদ্দেশে লক্ষ্মীর কঠোর তপস্যা, এই লাগি সুখ ভোগ ছাড়ি চিরকাল, ব্রত নিয়ম করি তপ করিল অপার।
Just to associate with Krishna, Lakshmi abandoned all transcendental happiness in Vaikuntha and for a long time accepted vows and regulative principles and performed unlimited austerities.
শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতম দশম স্কন্দের 16-36। কস্যানুভব অস্য নদেব বিদ্যেহে তাবাঙ্ঘ্রিরেণু স্পর্শাধিকার, যদঞ্চয়া শিল লনাচরক তপ বিয়াহ কামান শুচিরাং ধৃতব্রতা।
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya attained such an opportunity to be touched by the dust of your lotus feet. Even the goddess of fortune, for this end, performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and observing austere vows. Indeed, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya got such an opportunity. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.16.36 was spoken by the wives of the Kaliya serpent.
ভট্টের উত্তর, কৃষ্ণ সঙ্গে নারায়ণ পত্নীর সতীত্ব হারিণীর অসম্ভাবনা। ভট্ট কয়ে কৃষ্ণ নারায়ণ একই স্বরূপ, কৃষ্ণেতে অধিক লীলা বৈদগ্ধাদি রূপ।
Venkat Bhatta then said, Lord Krishna and Lord Narayana are one and the same, but the pastimes of Krishna are more relishable due to their sportive nature.
Venkat understood
Venkat Bhatta understood
that Krishna and Narayan are not the same. So,
Krishna, he understood that Krishna and Narayan are the same Swarup.
but he thought the reason Lakshmi wanted to go with Krishna
But he thought the reason Lakshmi wanted to go with Krishna
because Krishna was more sportive.
because Krishna is more sportive.
তার স্পর্শে নাহি যায় পতিব্রতা ধর্ম, কৌতিকে লক্ষ্মী চাহেন কৃষ্ণের সঙ্গম।
Since Krishna and Narayana are the same personality, Lakshmi's association with Krishna does not break her vow of chastity. Rather, it was in great fun that the goddess of fortune wanted to associate with Lord Krishna. Purport. This is the answer to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's question, and from this we can understand that Venkat Bhatta knew the truth. He told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Narayana is a form of Krishna associated with transcendental opulence. Although Krishna is two-armed and Narayana four-armed, there is no difference in the person. They are one and the same. Narayana is as beautiful as Krishna, but Krishna's pastimes are more sportive. It is not that the sportive pastimes of Krishna make him different from Narayana. Lakshmi's desiring to associate with Krishna was perfectly natural. In other words, it is understandable that a chaste woman wants to associate with her husband in all his different dresses. Therefore, one should not criticize Lakshmi for wanting to associate with Krishna.
Lord Chaitanya was not criticizing Lakshmi.
Lord Chaitanya was not criticizing Lakshmi.
It was that since Lakshmi wanted to associate with Krishna,
Since Lakshmi wanted to associate with Krishna,
that form of Narayana
that form of Narayana
somehow has more attraction.
somehow has more attraction.
কৃষ্ণ ও নারায়ণের লীলা বৈচিত্র্য, ভক্তির অসামৃত সিন্ধু 1-2-59। সিদ্ধান্ত তস্ত ভিদিদে অপি শ্রীশ কৃষ্ণ স্বরূপয়, রসেনাথ কৃষ্ণতে কৃষ্ণ রূপ মেশা রসস্থিতি।
Venkat Bhatta continued, according to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Narayana and Krishna. Yet, in Krishna, there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently he surpasses Narayana. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows. Purport. This verse quoted by Venkat Bhatta is also found in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.59.
কৃষ্ণ সঙ্গে পতিব্রতা ধর্ম নহে নাশ, অধিক লাভ পাইয়ে আর রাস বিলাস।
The goddess of fortune considered that her vow of chastity would not be damaged by her relationship with Krishna. Rather, by associating with Krishna, she could enjoy the benefit of the rasa dance.
বিনোদিনী লক্ষ্মীর হয় কৃষ্ণে অভিলাষ, ইহাতে কি দোষ কেনে কর পরিহাস।
Venkat Bhatta further explained, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is also an enjoyer of transcendental bliss. Therefore, if she wanted to enjoy herself with Krishna, what fault is there? Why are you joking so about this?
প্রভুর পুনঃ প্রশ্ন, প্রভু কয়ে দোষ নাহি ইহা আমি জানি, রাস না পাইল লক্ষ্মী শাস্ত্রে ইহা শুনি।
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I know that there is no fault on the part of the goddess of fortune, but still she could not enter into the rasa dance. We hear this from the revealed scriptures.
This shows that
This shows that
pastimes of Lord Krishna are superior to Lord Narayana,
pastimes of Lord Krishna are superior to Lord Narayana,
although they're the same person.
although they are same person.
But in Krishna, there's more like Chitra, the more variegated pastimes.
In Krishna, there are more Vaichitra, variegated pastimes.
ব্রজ গোপীর মহিমা শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতম দশম স্কন্দের 47-60। নয়াং শ্রিয় অঙ্গ উনিতন্তরে প্রসাদ, সর্য শীতং নলিন গন্ধরুচাং কুত অন্ন, রাসৎ সবে অশ্ব ভুজদণ্ড গৃহীত কণ্ঠ, লব্ধা শিশং যা উদ্গাদ ব্রজসুন্দরীণম।
When Lord Sri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, the gopis were embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other consorts in the spiritual world. Nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma exactly resemble the beauty and fragrance of the lotus flowers. And what to speak of worldly women, who may be very, very beautiful according to material estimation. Purport. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.47.60.
গোপীর আনুগত্যেই বিনা লক্ষ্মীর কৃষ্ণ সহ রাসবিলাসে অক্ষমতা। লক্ষ্মী কেনে না পাইল ইহার কি কারণ, তপ করি কইছে কৃষ্ণ পাইল শ্রুতিগণ।
But can you tell me why the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, could not enter the rasa dance? The authorities of Vedic knowledge could enter the dance and associate with Krishna.
গোপীর আনুগত্যেই শ্রুতির রাগমার্গে কৃষ্ণ সেবা লাভ। শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতম দশম স্কন্দের 87-23। নির্ভীত মরণ অন অক্ষ দৃঢ়যোগ যুজ হৃদি যা, নুন্ময় উপসাতে তদ রয় অপি যুজ স্মরণাৎ, স্ত্রিয় উরুগেন্দ্র ভোগ ভুজদণ্ড বিষাক্ত ধিয়, বিয় অপি তে সমদৃশ অঙ্ঘ্রি সরোজ শোধা।
Great sages conquer the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus, engaging in mystic yoga, they see the supersoul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead attain that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord. However, the damsels of Vraja, the gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus, the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, the Upanishads can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopis. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.23.
So in order to get the blessing of participating in the Ras
So, in order
Leela,
to get the blessings of participating in the rasa dance, Leela,
you have to follow in the footsteps of the gopis.
you have to follow the footsteps of the gopis.
So if Lakshmi Devi is not doing that,
If Lakshmi Devi is not doing that,
she cannot enter the Ras Leela.
she cannot enter the Rasa Leela.
প্রভু প্রশ্নের উত্তরদানে ভট্টের অসমর্থ। শ্রুতি পায় লক্ষ্মী না পায় ইথে কি কারণ, ভট্ট কহে ইহা প্রবেশিতে নারে মোর মন।
Having been asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why the goddess of fortune could not enter into the rasa dance, whereas the authorities on Vedic knowledge could, Venkat Bhatta replied, I cannot enter into the mysteries of this behavior.
আমি জীব ক্ষুদ্র বুদ্ধি সহজে অস্থির, ঈশ্বরের লীলা কোটি সমুদ্র গম্ভীর।
Venkat Bhatta then said, I am an ordinary human being. Since my intelligence is very limited and I am easily agitated, my mind cannot enter within the deep ocean of the pastimes of the Lord.
প্রভুর কৃপায় প্রভু লীলা জ্ঞান, তুমি সাক্ষাৎ সেই কৃষ্ণ, জানো নিজ কর্ম, যারে জানাহ সেই জানে তোমার লীলা মর্ম।
You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Himself. You know the purport of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his pastimes cannot be understood by blunt material senses. One has to purify the senses by rendering transcendental loving service unto the Lord. When the Lord is pleased and reveals himself, one can understand the transcendental form, name, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Kathopanishad 2.23 and Mundaka Upanishad 3.2.3. Anyone who is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead can understand his transcendental name, qualities, form, and pastimes. In order to understand the name, qualities, pastimes of the Lord, one should be favored by the Supreme Personality Godhead.
প্রভুর কৃষ্ণ ও ব্রজবাসী উভয়ের সহজ রাগাত্মক স্বভাব বর্ণন। প্রভু কহে কৃষ্ণের এক সজীব লক্ষণ, সমাধুর্যে সর্বচিত্ত করে আকর্ষণ।
The Lord replied, Lord Krishna has a special characteristic. He attracts everyone's heart by the mellow of his personal conjugal love.
ব্রজলোকের ভাবে পাইয়ে তাহার চরণ, তারে ঈশ্বর করি নাহি জানে ব্রজজন।
By following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of the planet known as Vrajaloka or Goloka Vrindavana, one can attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. However, in that planet the inhabitants do not know that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
They just love Krishna not for his position.
They just love Krishna but not for his position,
His attractive features.
for his attractive features.
কেহ তারে পুত্র জ্ঞানে উদু খোলে বাঁধে, কেহ সখা জ্ঞানে যিনি চড়ে তার কান্ধে।
There, someone may accept him as a son and sometimes bind him to a grinding mortar. Someone else may accept him as an intimate friend and, attaining victory over him, playfully mount his shoulders.
ব্রজেন্দ্র নন্দন বলে তারে জানে ব্রজজন, ঐশ্বর্য জ্ঞানে নাহি কোনো সম্বন্ধ মানন।
The inhabitants of Vrajabhumi know Krishna as the son of Maharaja Nanda, the king of Vrajabhumi, and they consider that they can have no relationship with the Lord in the rasa of opulence.
ব্রজলোকের ভাবে যে করায়ে ভজন, সেই ব্রজে পায় শুদ্ধ ব্রজেন্দ্র নন্দন।
One who worships the Lord by following in the footsteps of the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi attains him in the transcendental planet of Vraja, where he is known as the son of Maharaja Nanda. Purport: the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi or Goloka Vrindavana know Krishna as the son of Maharaja Nanda. They do not accept him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead as people in general do. The Lord is the supreme maintainer of everyone and the chief personality among all personalities. In Vrajabhumi, Krishna is certainly the central point of love, but no one knows him there as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Rather, a person may know him as a friend, son, lover, or master. In any case, the center is Krishna. The inhabitants of Vrajabhumi are related to the Lord in servitude, friendship, parental love, and conjugal love. A person engaged in devotional service may accept any one of these transcendental relationships, which are known as mellows. When such a person reaches the perfectional stage, he returns home, back to Krishna in his pure spiritual identity.
Special mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
This is the special mercy of Lord Chaitanya.
By following his footsteps, one can enter into the Golok Vrindavan.
That by following his footsteps, one can enter into Golok Vrindavan.
শ্রীমদ্ ভাগবতম 10:9-21। নয়ং সুখপ ভগবান দেহিনং গোপিকাসুত, জ্ঞানিনাং চাত্মভূতানং যথা ভক্তি মতামিহ।
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then quoted, "The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yasoda, is accessible to those devotees engaged in spontaneous loving service, but he is not as easily accessible to mental speculators, to those striving for self-realization by severe austerities and penances, or to those who consider the body the same as the self." Purport: this verse, also given in Madhya Leela 8.227, is quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.21.
গোপীর আনুগত্যে রাসে শ্রুতিগণের কৃষ্ণ সেবা লাভ। শ্রুতিগণ গোপীগণের অনুগত হইয়া, বোজেশ্বরী সুত ভজে গোপী ভাব লইয়া।
The authorities in the Vedic literature, who are known as the Shruti-ganas, worshipped Lord Krishna in the ecstasy of the gopis and followed in their footsteps. Purport: the authorities in the Vedic literature, who are known as the Shruti-ganas, desired to enter into Lord Krishna's rasa dance. Therefore, they began to worship the Lord in the ecstasy of the gopis. In the beginning, however, they were unsuccessful. When they could not enter the dance simply by thinking of Krishna in the ecstasy of the gopis, they actually accepted bodies like those of the gopis. They even took birth in Vrajabhumi, just like the gopis, and consequently became engrossed in the ecstasy of the gopis' love. In this way, they were allowed to enter into the rasa Leela dance of the Lord.
This reveals the secret.
This verse reveals the secret.
You take a birth in the Rajadam,
That you need to take birth in Brajadam,
not only follow the gopis, but take a form like the gopis.
not only following the gopis, but take a form like gopis.
বাহ্য অন্তরে গোপী দেহ ব্রজে যবে পাইল সেই দেহে কৃষ্ণ সঙ্গে রাসক্রীড়া কইল।
The personified authorities on the Vedic hymns acquired bodies like those of the gopis and took birth in Brajabhumi. In those bodies, they were allowed to enter into the Lord's Rasalila dance.
গোপী ব্যতীত অন্য চিন্ময়ী স্ত্রীরও মধুর সেবা লাভ অসম্ভব। গোপজাতি কৃষ্ণ গোপী প্রিয়াসী তাহার দেবী বা অন্য স্ত্রী কৃষ্ণ না করে অঙ্গীকার।
Lord Krishna belongs to the cowherd community, and the gopis are the dearmost lovers of Krishna. Although the wives of the denizens of the heavenly planets are most opulent within the material world, neither they nor any other women in the material universe can acquire Krishna's association.
Do you like our ad-free videos? Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We publish new videos every day, and don't forget to like and share our channel.